Every time I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Good morning, people, or good night, wherever you are. Um, I did say if there's any new news, I will cover it, and lo and behold, every time I declare I'm gonna step away till they announce something new, they immediately announce something new. Um, Jeff Keighley tweeted out a couple hours ago. Well, not a couple hours. It was almost 12 hours ago. Tune into Gamescom opening night live for a new look at Ninja Gaiden 4. New look, a new look that if that doesn't say trailer, I don't know what else does. Streaming live next Tuesday at 8 p.m. CST, 2 p.m. ET, and 11 Pacific time. And if you need the timer for it, the countdown from when this video is going up, obviously, you have 5 days exactly. So 5 days exactly from now, this stream will be up, and that's going to be their opening night live show, and they're going to show a whole bunch of stuff and confirmed a new look at Ninja Gaiden. And because it is a opening night, that means it is going to be trailers, or at least a trailer. Because and I fingers crossed, and like hype me up here a little bit. Fingers crossed, it's so the Ryu's weapons get showcased, right? At least a couple of them. But I think if that does happen, people are gonna be like, "Hey, wait a minute! If they're there, why are they not in the game day one?" So which an answer to that, if that does happen, that might be because they're trying to do it in a bundle. They don't want to release them one by one, which is great news because it means you get everything at once and you don't get drip feed over and over again. So that's a W if that happens. But if most likely it's just going to be a Ryu breakdown. Not breakdown, but it's going to be a Ryu trailer. They're going to show his kid and stuff. They might show all his nimpos. They might show all his true dragon sword moves because we still haven't seen any of those besides just one of them. Um, so yeah, the this is just fantastic. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys the true dragon sword move I'm talking about. But this is fantastic that this is actually happening so soon because we assumed that this was going to be like it might. I would assume it might not happen. I was very well under the impression that yeah, we're probably not gonna get anything besides the demo. But no, we are getting confirmed trailer. That's not it. I think it was this one then. I think it's this one. I don't think I'm not even sure about this, but this is yeah, it is yeah, Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon string, which is a string that he only had in Razor's Edge, Ninja Gaiden 3. I think Vanilla had it too, but it's square, 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 triangle, square, 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 triangles, which goes into Izuna if you finish it. But I think the enemies died, so he couldn't follow off the. He tried to do Izuna, but the enemies died. So yeah, a true dragon sword usually tends to have more movesets than the dragon sword itself, because the Magatama on that he fuses with it is enhances Ryu's strength and the wielder, and only if someone of pure heart can wield this weapon. So you know the what we've seen of Ryu in the footage, in the B-roll footage we've got, is with his base dragon sword. I'm not even sure if whatchamacallit, I'm not even sure if it's like level 3 or level 4, whatever how many levels we have here. But yeah, like there is more to what we saw with Ryu. Like he already looks more in depth than even his Ninja Gaiden 3 iteration, just with the sword. But yeah, when the true dragon sword is actually showcased, that might be a whole different deal. Which might be why this move wasn't showcased during any of the gameplays. Um, this one, we didn't see this move at all. Because there was plenty of perfect blocking and fatal flashes and gleaming modes that happened after this sequence, but we never saw this move. So yeah, this might be a exclusive move to the True Dragon Sword, but we'll see soon. We'll see in 5 days. So again, In 5 days, there's going to be new. Wow, windowception. I have window open and window open. In 5 days, we're gonna get new trailer most likely for this game. Oh, I just saw this. There's no IGN video. So this video is gonna rail off. But before we rail off, before we trail off, I made a clarification here in my news roundup video. So I forgot to mention a couple of things because there's just so much. If I want to include every new mechanic and everything verbally, I'll be here for 10 hours. But the game mode, on top of everything I said in the beginning portion of this video, just for the news roundup, on top of everything I said, Master Ninja mode will have new enemies, new enemy waves. Sorry, not new enemies, new enemy waves and new enemy attacks. And the developers have gone to say that talismans are heavily encouraged. Like they want you to beat the game, unlock talismans, and then tackle Master Ninja mode to make it a little bit easier. So if the developers are willingly spoiling the fact that there are talismans in the game, then yeah, Master Ninja must truly be something. It still might be nonsensical like the older games. It's never been fair. It's been manageable, but it's never been fair. Which is the whole point of a hard difficulty. Not to be fair, it's to push you. Photo mode is in the game. Day one, you press the pause button and you go into photo mode. When this game is photogenic as hell, so it's always good to be able to take screenshots of all these badass moments. And Gore is there, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of like clean filters, like the black and white filters with exaggerated red colors. I forgot the term for it. You would think I know since I'm art director, but yeah, these terms escape me all the time. And training mode is there in the game, and as far as I've seen, training mode kind of works like Devil May Cry's the Void, which you can select the enemy you want. They spawn, and you can turn on their actions so they can fight you and all that. And yeah, so on top of everything I just said, and the beginning of this portion, right? That's the news roundup, and we got this. We got not this, but we have in 5 days straight, 5 days and a couple minutes, a new trailer for Ninja Gaiden. So people can be extremely excited about this. And I'm hoping it's a long trailer, and I'm hoping it mostly includes Ryu. I hope it talks about the story but doesn't spoil anything. And I really want to see some humanoid boss fights, which I know they're there. It's Ninja Gaiden. It's gonna have humanoid boss fights, but I kind of want to see something. Um, Word of advice: this might be too spoilery. This trailer might be too spoilery. So maybe watch it, and if it's too much, if you don't want to get spoiled on the story and such, then obviously don't watch it. And for launch day, companies usually do a launch day trailer which absolutely spoils everything. Obviously, I don't care about spoilers, so I'll cover it and I'll make a video on it. But for the launch day trailer, I most likely will either watch it on stream or not watch it at all, because I want to experience the game before I get spoiled on shit. Unless they show weapons, then I'm probably just gonna ask one of my friends to go to the weapon portion of the video, timestamp it for me, so I can break it down for you guys, if there is weapons included. But launch day trailer usually is exclusive to what's in the game currently. They don't talk about stuff that's not. So, with that said, let's pivot away and watch this one. And I'm just gonna lower the volume because I do not want the video to blow up in my ear once again. This just dropped 3 hours ago, and I woke up an hour ago, so we'll see.
Are the enemies aggressive and punishing like
yes, they are.
Ninja Gaiden 2, yet fast to kill, or are they passive damage sponges like Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma? This is from a hardcore Ninja Gaiden fan here, I can tell.
This is gonna be very interesting.
What's happening, friends? Brian McCaffrey here with Mitchell Saltzman. We have both played the recent preview build of Ninja Gaiden 4. Mitchell, you were kind enough to actually write up the preview and do our video. Did a great job on it, as you always do. You actually have the skills here. I'm just an old
Support the
Ninja
video,
Gaiden
guys.
head from back in the OG Xbox days. So I thought we could.
Not my video. This support IGN's video. I mean, obviously you're allowed to support mine too, but
video is to answer the viewer questions.
Let's see what we got.
Had after watching your video preview, so we've collected them from IGN, from YouTube, from wherever else this video was posted. So let's just dive in, because we've actually got a lot of great viewer questions here. This is probably going to be a somewhat long video, and I don't want to waste waste any time. Let's get into it. So, our first question is a pretty simple one that I know you can answer. What are the difficulty levels for this one? Difficulty being, of course, famously attached to Ninja Gaiden. And I know you play on Master Ninja, don't you?
You think way too highly of me. My preferred difficulty for Ninja Gaiden is actually hard. I think Master Ninja ramps it up to a point where the way that I have to play in order to survive at that level of difficulty is like a very kind of safe, kind of no
Boring.
risks involved kind of
Yeah.
style where I have to like really focus on defense and making sure that I'm not leaving myself open to any kind of counterattack because
These are true.
if they touch you, it's a real bad day. But hard I think is the sweet spot for me in terms of I'm still able to play in the way that I like. I have to use all of my tools available, and it's just kind of like that right amount of friction that I kind of want to get out of this game. But yeah, as you said, it's easy, normal, hard, and Master Ninja. Those are the 4 difficulty levels, and I don't think there's going to be any differences, in the full game. But I'm not sure.
Ultimate Ninja.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
not.
most likely what we're going
Maybe
to go
one day.
with. Unless maybe in a new game plus, maybe there could be something else. We just don't know for sure.
No.
Our next question. Although I'm liking the look of Yakumo, I was wondering if you think by what you played that Ryu will have multiple weapons or just
We
one
know the
weapon?
answer to this.
So this has actually been confirmed in an interview with, I believe, The Gamer. If someone else did that interview first and then was just reposted, I apologize. But it has been confirmed that Ryu will only have the one weapon, and that other weapons will be added as DLC. In lieu of that, Ryu also has access to Ninpo, which Yakumo does not have. So he's got, I've only seen Art of Inferno. I believe he has some others that are, returning from other Ninja Gaiden games. Here's the thing: I didn't really get to play as Ryu
Yeah.
in the kind of story kind of fashion. The way my preview worked was that I played the prologue, I played chapter 1
Yep.
up to that boss that I talked about in the preview, and then you hit the title screen basically. You're kicked out, and then you can go back into kind of like a challenge mode, and then you can replay the levels as whichever character you want. You can play either Yakumo or you can play Ryu.
So that's very important to say because when we were watching the Spanish gameplay of Prologue and Chapter 1, I did say that this is most likely the demo build, and I'm already a little disappointed, not to be negative. That is the demo build. I am happy Ryu's playable. However, call me an elitist if you want. I just wanted traditions to be kept. I wanted Ryu to be hey, you have to beat Master Ninja with the Yakumo to be able to access Ryu in the demo. That's kind of what I wanted to be because you know, it just makes sense. Plus, like Ninja Gaiden 3, despite everything it also had that mechanic that if you have to beat the game, I think on hard difficulty on the demo to unlock Ayane, so you can play as Ayane, which was sick because I think Ayane was kind of stronger. And I think you kept all your upgrades too if you did any upgrades in the demo. So maybe it's the same case here, but nowadays everything is about accessibility. So you just unlock Ryu after beating the demo once, and you can do the chapter as both of them. So the demo build, thankfully, this is the part of what I'm excited about. I was thinking it might have been Yakumo, which would have been horrible. Not that I dislike Yakumo. It's just that if you don't have Ryu in a Ninja Gaiden game, that is not correct. That is just is not right. I will never defend the fact if Dante's not in DMC, I will never defend the Devil May Cry. If Kratos is not in the God of War, I'm not going to defend that, which makes no sense since he is the God of War. And same thing, if Ryu is not in a Ninja Gaiden game, I don't. That's not Ninja Gaiden to me. I'm just gonna call it something else in my head. Shibubi Mabubi, like it doesn't matter. It's not Ninja Gaiden. So the fact that the demo build has the option for you to play Ryu is awesome. I hope that is the demo that's gonna get provided, but I'm sure we'll find the answer to this literally in 5 days. Oh well, 6 days technically because the show floor and we can't really play anything. Maybe after the show's over, behind closed doors. But anyways, getting back to the video. So demo build has Ryu, and you can play as him after you beat Yakumo's prologue and chapter 1.
And there's 2 extra levels that were added on top of that. So I didn't really get the sense of Ryu's progression, what he has unlocked from the start and what he has to unlock later on, or like what his actual story levels are gonna look like. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers the question.
Well, you just answered that for me too, because I will say I've been and my I did the first preview for IGN, the first hands-on back in June, and you and I both came away, by the way, with the same conclusion, which is that this game is making us both extraordinarily happy so far.
Mhm.
We are super psyched about it, and it seems like a true return to form for the series after three and then the long hiatus from the mainline games. But yeah, I'm one that I always loved playing around with all the different weapons depending on the situation in both Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. So if Ryu really only has one weapon and then more are going to get added as DLC, I don't love that.
Yeah,
Eh,
and what I'll add also is that like while three was definitely kind of a misstep, Razor's Edge actually improved a lot of that
exactly.
game, and it made it into a I think a game that's worthy of being part of the Ninja Gaiden trilogy.
Exactly.
It was just it went in such a different direction in terms of the combat compared to the first two games, and Ninja Gaiden 4 I think really brings it back to like, oh, this is the successor to the style of Ninja Gaiden in Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
an iterative style of gameplay that builds on what Ninja Gaiden 2 did, which I think is one of the things that's really exciting about it.
All right,
Okay, so I'm gonna pause there. The consensus, just to break down the whole three situation, the consensus was that three is that Ninja Gaiden 3 was so bad and so ass, it was just terrible that not only the fans didn't like it, the developers felt so bad for that product that when they made Razor's Edge, they actually kind of retconned a lot of things in 3 already. Like, because the story is there, but crucial points to why the story is the way it is are just cut off, right? So they definitely listened that, yeah, this thing is kind of ass. It's because it kind of was. I'm not going to defend 3's story at all, ever. No, neither in Vanilla or Razor's Edge. And Razor's Edge is worse, in my opinion, because you're actually missing context. But 3's was the worst it could be, right? So it's like, whatever. But people that have actually played Razor's Edge usually tend to like it, right? Which is exactly the situation with 4. Everybody that has gotten hands on with it, whether they are talking down to the game, whether they're praising it, they're happy, right? There's excitement there. That is the number one mark that a video game is a real video game. When people that play it genuinely sound like they had fun. No matter their criticism, no matter their praises, they had fun. So I think based on my 25 years of experience with video games, I'm older than that, but I wasn't playing since the womb, but practically was, I guess. But people that got hands on 4, very happy with it, excited, cannot wait to play more. And I'm sure that's going to be us in a couple of weeks. So if you are still skeptical about 4, just wait till you get the demo. Just wait till you get the demo and then see what you feel like it. And if your opinion is still about, oh, I want more weapons, then guess what? That means you had fun, most likely, and they just still want more of it. Which there's nothing wrong with wanting more, but we gotta keep ourselves in check that nothing is infinite, right? So moving on. My whole point is that play Razor's Edge and skip the story and just enjoy the combat.
let's keep moving here. We've got so many questions to get to.
Sure.
Are the enemies aggressive and punishing like OG Ninja Gaiden 2,
No,
yet fast to kill, or are they passive damage sponges like Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma?
neither of those.
This is from a hardcore Ninja Gaiden fan here, I can tell.
It reminds me of Ninja Gaiden 2. There are times where you just
Yep.
do a flying swallow, lop an enemy's head off, and you're done. That's it. that guy is dead. There are also times where you'll do a whole combo on them and they'll
They're
still
still
get
alive.
up.
Yep.
So it is kind
You've
of
seen
that
both
thing
these
of,
cases.
sometimes the random number generator will just work in your favor and you'll just lop an enemy's head off. Other times you need to work a little harder.
Which is through and through Ninja Gaiden, because Flying Swallow has never been guaranteed, but it's always been super good when you get the D-Limb, because it's almost an insta kill, right? And other times they block you or they dodge it and you're dead because you're in recovery and they're already ready to hit you. So that's been Ninja Gaiden. And if you don't get the D-Limb, the enemies feel tanky as fuck, which again always has been the case. This has been the case in 4 too. If you pay attention to the Ryu segments where he's fighting the commander with soldiers around, they do formation attacks and they'll constantly get in your face. So NG3 and to some extent too, they had this aggro system where only a certain amount of enemies can aggro you, even though there's a whole bunch on screen. So hypothetically, and I'm just going to talk about three because I know more about it. In three's case, you could have 8 enemies on screen, right? But only 4 will aggro you and try to attack you. Everybody else just runs in circles or just backdash. If they're Vangels, they just backdash, right? Range enemies excluded. They have their own aggro system. They'll always try to shoot you. But this game doesn't seem to have that. They seem to be like, yeah, if there's 8 enemies on screen, 8 enemies will aggro you. So in some senses, I think it's because of the memory issue with PlayStation and all that. But like, or maybe it's just was just too hard to just limit it to that. In this game, it doesn't seem to be the case. I think they just throw everything in the kitchen sink at you, and it's your job to utilize all those new tools you have, combine with the old ones to make the situation go in your favor. But as far as aggression goes, they're more aggressive. This is normal mode, and the dev that's playing it is really good at the game, right? He's not like top 1% pro player, but he's really good at the game. And even he had to use items a couple of times to just not die.
That is just the best feeling, though, when it's just a one, a
Mm-hmm.
one hit. It's like, oh, I don't think he's getting back up. I
And
think
it's
that
something.
was it.
It's something so unique to Ninja Gaiden. It's one of the things I love most about that combat system.
Absolutely. From the same user, Serious Peaches asks, "How's the performance? Any Unreal Engine 5 stutter?" Before you answer,
Mm.
we of course have to caveat by saying we were playing this in
See,
late
right?
July, early August. Game's not out till October, so there will inevitably be more
Yep.
performance
Obviously, gotta
optimization.
say that.
But with that said, go ahead, Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean nothing. It's look. I don't have the game that I can like boot up and like check it right now. But while I was playing, nothing stood out to me. It
That's
felt smooth. It
fantastic to
felt
hear.
good. It looked great. Um, I have no complaints about the performance.
I would echo the same thing.
The
And I'll
last thing you
also
want
point
in
out
a
too that
hack and slash
the
game is
first
any
time
type of
that I played it,
input drop,
the
delay,
preview I did, the first time out
stuttering.
in June, that
That would
was on the
suck.
PC, almost certainly a high-end PC. I don't actually know what the specs
Mm.
were because it was at a Microsoft event. But then your preview, again, that we both played the build of, was off of a Series X. So and it ran
Oh, they played on
awesomely.
the
I mean,
console.
it
So
was
there you go.
every
It
bit what
runs
you'd
like butter
expect,
on console.
a smooth 60. Now we're not our friends at Digital Foundry, so we don't have like the frame by frame analysis, but all signs are pointing to it running really, really well. One more from Serious Peaches who asks,
Yeah,
"Are
this is
there
a good question.
secondary weapons
That it
like
wasn't in the
Windmill
demo.
Shuriken and Incendiary Shuriken?"
I would have to guess that there are, but in my preview build, my
Nothing
guess
was
has
there.
been
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Although for people that might just immediately pull off by that, the menu wheel, the weapon wheel, or the item wheel, was pretty sizable. There was a there was 9 slots on it, which is a very very funny number because Ryu in total has 9 weapons. Intense nudge nudge, but yeah, the item menu had mostly items in it, right? So for Yakumo's portion, I think we saw, and again 9 slots on it. Might have been 8, but regardless, you can most likely socket a loadout to that, so you can put items on your wheel, so you can cycle through them through that. So if there is long range weapon, it might just be there because I don't think there's any button on the controller right now that allows you to use a long range weapon. So because R1 is grappling, it's not camera recentering anymore, and the R2 is Gleaming Blade and Bloodbind. So unless L2 does everything on a long range weapon, I don't know what L2 can do.
All right, keeping it moving here. Next question: Can you instantly cancel attack animations with a block or dodge like in most other Platinum games? The original Ninja Gaiden games always had attack commitments, so wondering if those
3 did, and 3 you
still
could
either
cancel
in
everything
Ninja Gaiden
with a
4.
block.
So I believe, and this all just goes back to me saying that it feels like Ninja Gaiden. I believe it's the same where I don't think you can cancel an attack with a guard, but what you can do is cancel an attack with a shuriken. It's called the shuriken cancel, and that's what you use a lot when you're trying to like
You
you know cut your combo short so you can restart a combo rather than going deeper into the combo tree. So you can still do that absolutely, but I don't think that there's guard canceling the same way that there is in like a Bayonetta or you know I don't even know if I don't think Bayonet has block canceling. I think it has dodge canceling. But no, I don't think so.
Okay.
So if I can give some 2 cents on that, 4 seems to be running on the same shenanigans 3 was. Um, which in the same frame where you can shuriken cancel, you can dash cancel or slide cancel. So your commitment's kind of there, but you can cancel the end of your animation. So right as your recovery stops, you can cancel it into a slide, into a jump, most likely, into shuriken cancel, obviously. So again, if you want to get familiarized with how 4 works, give Razor's Edge a try because they're so similar. If you play 2, you're probably not going to have the same muscle memory.
Next, Darkwing Spartan asks, how did you feel about Ryu apparently only having one weapon compared to Yakumo's 4 or 5? Does he have anything to make up for it? Does his kit seem limited? I guess you kind of hit on this already.
A little bit, yeah. Because I didn't play with him in a story capacity, I only played through the same levels as Yakumo. I didn't really get the sense that he was missing anything. But I think what's important to note is that weapons in Ninja Gaiden have always kind of been more about flavor than anything else. There are certain
No. I'm putting that a pause real quick. What the hell was that move? I saw this before. That's his thrust. What the fuck? Alright, whatever. I'll do that later.
Important to note is that weapons in Ninja Gaiden have always kind of been more about flavor than anything else. There are certain weapons that do better in certain
Oh, that
enemy
was offset
encounters,
dodge.
but for the most part, you can use the Dragon Sword throughout the whole game.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of, do you want to mix it up? And, what weapon do you actually prefer using?
The sight.
As someone who's played the heck out of these games, the Dragon Sword has always been my favorite weapon for Ryu, so I unfortunately didn't really miss not having other weapons because in this limited time period for this preview, I probably would just use the Dragon Sword anyway. The weapons that Yakumo has are pretty cool though. He has like this kind of lance, almost like dagger lance that transforms into a giant drill, and that's where the platinum influence also really feels like this feels like a platinum weapon, and he can like jump up into the air, drill it into the ground. It can extend. It's really cool.
Let's see. Still talking about weapons. Was there real-time weapon switching in the preview? If so, how does the game balance?
It was for Yakumo.
Oh. Yes, and I think it's more of a flavor thing. I think it's just something if you want to be really fancy, you can do to swap between your weapons mid combo. The B-roll that we were provided, the footage in the preview, by the way, was provided B-roll. It wasn't my own B-roll. As much as I would like to lay claim to it, I feel like I had some pretty cool.
I have
B-roll
echoed
of my
this
own
nonstop.
that I could have captured, but they really went above and beyond in terms of the B-roll that they captured for this. But I think if you look at that B-roll, you can kind of see the real time weapon swapping.
Yeah, I'm glad they provided good B-roll because otherwise the comments would have been full of people telling us how much we suck at the game.
And I would have been so mad that I couldn't capture my own B-roll if that happened.
All right. Another one from Darkwing Spartan, who actually I was just mentioning this a moment ago. In his initial preview a couple months ago, Ryan said the camera felt much better than the old games. How do you feel about it? And before you answer, I'll just say that now that I got to play a little bit more, it still felt really good to me.
Because it's further back. It's pulled back more.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's not up Ryu's ass.
The big thing you have to remember
still not as bad as God of War.
A modern game that has learned from the mistakes of countless action games beforehand.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden 1 especially was kind of notorious for its camera. I think mostly that was because a lot of the fights took place in like very narrow kind of corridors, like inside dojos and inside like cramped kind of corridors.
Right from the first mission of the game.
Yeah, and you look at Ninja Gaiden 4 and the fights are largely happening in.
You see how pulled back the camera is, and they give you a top view technique. You pretty much have a RTS viewpoint, which is good because enemies can hit you off screen. The fact that you have this much vision, I assume if you have a widescreen, this will be even more crazy. But yeah,
tight corridors, but they're larger spaces than you would find in the original Ninja Gaiden. So I think more than just like the camera being better, it's more that just the places that you fight in have more space for the camera to move.
Here's
and before that ends, I'm now I know when to pause on these because they're segmented. Thank you, IGN. Um, the uh, the whole topic about Ninja Gaiden's camera, it's a very opinionated thing. I will say the camera is not the best it can be, and it will absolutely get you killed, 100%. But I'm also would be lying if I say there is not a way around it. There is. If you have experience with it, if you actually know what you're doing, which takes time, obviously, takes more time than I would like to admit. Actually, um, the camera in one and two, and even sometimes three, they're not as bad as people think. It just takes extra steps to master it. So four seems to have eliminated that step. They kind of had it down in three. Three barely has any bad camera angles unless you get pushed against the wall. But in four's case, because they're panned out, and if it's hitting a wall, it pans upwards, so you get a top view instead of being pushed against the wall and your camera zooming in. The camera is excellent in four so far. I'm sure because of the enemy density and how fast the Ryu and Yakumo move, there will be points that the camera just can't keep up because it does happen in DMC5 Special Edition. The camera can't keep up with Virgil too much. Same when DMC4 Special Edition. The camera legitimately cannot move as fast as Virgil can. So, yeah. Unless we have situations like that, I think we should be fine.
Here's a long question, so let's buckle up. From
All right.
Tough Monster
Mm-hmm.
7, who asks, did you happen to catch whether the Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, 3 classic technique reverse wind is present? And then he kind of explains it. Let's see if we can. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the bottom line. I'll bottom line it for you.
I feel bad saying.
Okay, I'll read it. No, I'll read it.
The
I'll
bottom
read it.
line.
Did you happen to catch whether the NG1, NG2, NG3 classic technique reverse wind, which I think it's his block counter, is present, is where you immediately cancel the block stun animation. You get placed in a successful blocking and attack into a dodge. Okay, you're literally canceling your successful block into a dodge. Oh, never mind. So it's not the counter he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that if you block, you step or slide. It's a block cancel, pretty much. You're literally canceling your successful block into a dodge mid block to both fully negate the damage or mitigate it if it's unblockable in many cases into a dash. Yes, it is in there. It's a short version they said, and because I don't think they might not understand it, but I'll, I'll just say it right now. If you get hit, if your guard gets broken, if you are juggled in the air by an enemy, which is a crazy statement for me to even say, but in any case, unless maybe it's a grab, I think grab is the only exception to this, obviously, because you can't block those. You can recover out of any animation with your slide. So there has been a case where Yakumo got launched, he's mid-air, and the enemy is jumping up to attack him to actually do a juggle combo. Yes, the enemy can juggle combo you as a thing and not by accident. It is actually a legitimate string they have. So, and Yakumo dashed out of it. Yakumo can dash backwards out of stuff too. And if you block something, you can immediately step out. If you watch the gameplay with Ryu's against the DDO commander, you'll see this used many times where he blocks and immediately slides out of it. So this exists.
I feel bad saying a very short answer for this long question, but yes.
There you go.
No, I'm pretty sure it all feels the same as the old Ninja Gaiden games. So if you block,
Yeah, the classic moves are there.
Yeah, if you block, you can very quickly get out of your kind of block animation by just dodging, and you can use that to like block and then get out of the way of like an enemy flurry.
You hit on this a little bit at the top when we were answering the question about difficulty levels. But the next question is simply, how difficult is Ninja Gaiden 4 in comparison to the previous entries? I know it's a little, it's not necessarily quite apples to apples because hard on this compares to who knows what difficulty level on the previous games. But generally speaking, what's your sense so far of that, Mitchell?
I would say that generally... I would say generally it's going to be easier. I think again this goes back to this is a modern game made in 2020 in the 2020s versus Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2, which were made much longer ago or a very long time
20
ago.
20 years, baby,
yeah,
for
20
Ninja
years.
Gaiden
I don't even
1.
want to say it out loud.
Actually,
Ryan.
21, and then 20 for Ninja Gaiden Black.
But the point is that I think action game developers have learned that there's a kind of difficulty that players like, a kind of difficulty that players don't like.
Yeah.
The kind of difficulty that players don't like is
Artificial.
playing through a 25-minute section, dying, and then
Restarting.
having to replay
Yeah.
the whole 25-minute section. So what Ninja Gaiden 4 does is that when you get to a challenging part of the level, it will put a checkpoint right there. You don't even have to do anything. And if you die, you restart that fight. So there were two main spots that I had some issue with. One was the fight right before the boss, and the other was the actual boss itself. And both those times, you die, you restart right at the beginning of the fight. I think one of them even has a checkpoint mid fight.
Yeah, man.
I'm not.
Wow, that is actually very scrub friendly. I'm sorry if you're a scrub, but that is just scrub friendly as hell. Which again, before I will always do this, by the way, because I do only speak facts as much as I can, unless I'm ignorant to it, which I try not to be. Um, this mechanic was introduced in Ninja Gaiden 3, where if you die, you just restart from that fight. You just restart the checkpoint, which happens at the beginning of that fight, at the beginning of that boss, or at the beginning of the phase transition of that boss. So this is not unique or new to 4. 3 had it. Again, play Razor's Edge. I know people neglected 3 because of 3, but Razor's Edge is not Ninja Gaiden 3, man. Whole different fucking ballpark. Um, but yeah, the restart checkpoint thing is a blessing because I cannot tell you how much I despise specifically twos in some areas. Because if I mean, black is better because black made you just restart checkpoint on bosses at least. But you do like 3-4 encounters, and then that one dickhead gets you with a grab, and then you're like, oh, I got to do all those encounters again, like Master Ninja, which is like an effort, right? So you can obviously go back and save again, but if you can't, some areas just drop you down, you can't go back up or something. You're fucked. So the fact that 4 has a checkpoint system, but now it punishes you for it, obviously, with the deaths, is really good.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so you're doing less of the same things over and over again, which I think is a good thing. That said, don't let that fool you into thinking that this game is going to be easy.
No,
I did my
this game is not
playthrough
easy.
hard, and once I hit that fight, man, I was stuck there for a hot minute. Anyway, but it's not like there. I always say that when I know when I'm playing a good game, when I die and I'm not going, oh,
Yep.
BS.
Yep.
I'm going, oh God, they got me.
Try it again immediately. Yep.
And I just I'm excited to go at it again. That's to me that's a sign of a good level of difficulty, and that's exactly what I got with Ninja Gaiden 4.
I'll say for me, I don't know if it's necessarily harder or not. I guess so far it's a little easier, but it's also the first level.
Yes.
And the tutorial.
A lot of people forget this.
Game. Now I know some people would be like, well,
the first mission on Ninja Gaiden
didn't f around. Like they kind of get started. They get started pretty quickly, but I do suspect we're going to see some harder fights, harder bosses, harder enemies in general as we get deeper into Ninja Gaiden 4 once we get access to the whole thing.
And one more thing that I'll add to that is, while I feel like the game feels like Ninja Gaiden, and I've been playing these games for a long time now. And I feel like I'm pretty familiar with how the dance of combat works. Ninja Gaiden 4 adds this new mechanic of the Blood Raven form, and on Ryu's side, the Gleam form. And you have to find a way to incorporate that into your combat because enemies will block your attacks until you use the new form to break through their guard. And if you don't do that, they will counter your attack and hit you with like a pretty meaty counterattack. So there's a lot of like relearning that I had to do of like, oh, how do I incorporate this new mechanic into
there you
what
go
I
right there
know
on
how
screen?
to do
That's exactly what happens.
Gaiden, which again, I felt like it was a really good kind of iterative change that I really enjoyed, the challenge of.
Yeah, I would not have survived that stage 1 boss fight without using the Blood Raven attack for sure.
Okay, so on difficulty, based on observation, and seems to be everything I've speculated is correct due to the word of mouth of these guys. The difficulty might feel easier for two main factors. Is one being that you have so many more tools in this game to utilize defensively. Most of the new tools are defensive. You have Perfect Block, that is a defensive tool. Obviously, when you buy the Fatal Flash, it is an offensive tool as well, which gives you an essence on countering. And you have Perfect Dodging, which works exactly like stepping, but it has a timing to it, which you'll most likely just get by naturally remembering animation visuals. But eventually, you'll just naturally start perfect dodging all the time because you're used to the attacks and when they connect with you, even if you're occupied with something else, right? Those are defensive tools. So because of those things, the game is going to feel a tad bit easier. And number two would be if your experience in this franchise. If you have previous experience in this game, it will 100% be easier than anything you've played before, right? So if you're looking for that feeling that you got back in 08 or 04 playing the classic Ninja Gaiden, you most likely not going to get that, my guy, because that was your first time tackling the franchise. You had zero experience, everything was new to you. Now you have an understanding of it, so the difficulty adrenaline rush is not going to be there. What you should be focusing on is a perfection adrenaline rush, meaning you perfect what you're doing, you polish how you approach things. If you do that, if you have a goal of bettering yourself, you're going to have much more enjoyment out of the game than be like, oh, why am I not dying in every hit? That's going to be miserable for you, and it's not going to be something you're going to re-achieve again. So focus on the right things when you're playing the game, or do what you want to do. It's your game. You paid for it. Play it however you like to do. So, I give my 2 cents, but it's still your decision at the end of the day. I'm not forcing you, and I cannot possibly force you to do anything. So, and that being said, the again, I've said that a professional developer was playing this on stream on normal mode, and they were getting their ass kicked certain sequences. So do not let your guard down when this game comes out, because they do ease you into it very good. They ease you into it very good, and then they throw you to the wolves.
Here's a question we have not.
As opposed to Ninja Gaiden 2, where you just started and they throw you to the wolves. Like, again, 2 wasn't that hard. 2 is just infamous because people saw a clip of Master Ninja Mission 1. And they're like, oh my god, this game is so hard. It's like, yeah, on the hardest difficulty, the game is going to be hard and unfair, of course. But on normal mode, it's not. Those ninjas at the beginning are nothing.
Spoken to yet. Can
And
you
turn
turn
off
off
blood.
blood? Sort of as a little nod to maybe some younger gamers who might need to turn it
Yeah,
off.
they already confirmed
to get
this.
parental approval to
Actually,
play.
pull up the video.
I was a bad game previewer and did not check the
You can.
settings
They have
to
already.
see if you could.
To be fair.
I unfortunately want the blood. So yeah, I did not get to explore the options to check.
Sadly, we would love to just check that for you right now.
I'll check that for you right now, buddy. You can cancel blood. There's a whole clip. That's the Japanese one. I apologize. There's a whole video dedicated to this. Prefer your Ninja Gaiden. Prefer your Ninja Ensemble pristine. Disable Gore for a cleaner look. But if you want the full intensity of combat, leave Gore on and relish the violence. You see Yakumo's body is clean, despite him just shredding these two. Costume is absolutely clean. This is Gore on. There's blood, there's spatters, there's just AIDS all over the place. This is Gore off. Ryu doesn't have anything on it. This is Gore off. Sorry, this is Gore on. The other one was Gore off. So Ryu has blood on it. As the question that if you can turn off every blood, I do not know that. But as far as blood effects goes, different story. But I assume they would. Wouldn't make sense in a Ninja Gaiden game rated M, but whatever.
The build access has been revoked, so yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be doing this video. We'd probably just still be playing Ninja Gaiden 4. But yeah, sadly, we don't have the answer to that one, so apologies there. And I would say the same thing for this next one. From Daniel, who asks, how much of the story do you play as Ryu and how much as a new character?
Nobody knows that answer.
We don't know yet. We just don't know yet. If this is going to be kind of a Gears of War 4 kind of situation,
Oof.
or more of a like Star Wars Episode 7 thing where we're handing off to the new generation and there's very little Ryu. We're just not sure yet.
There might be an interview somewhere out there on the internet where they talk about it.
I would wager in 5 days we'll find out.
Get to interview them for this preview cycle, but yeah, maybe check online. Maybe that answer is out there.
Well, here's a good one though from Yoni123. do you have to learn combos? The
No.
NES games, talk about OG gamer right here. The NES Ninja Gaidens are absolute classics, but this seems kind of hectic and button smashy style of gameplay instead of the intricate and precise platforming of the originals that gave you a real challenge.
So, more than knowing combos, you need to know moves. You need to know how to do a flying swallow. You need
Strings.
to know how to do a quick charge ultimate technique. If you want to play it like on the the higher levels of difficulty. I don't know how hard easy mode is going to be, but my guess is that that mode is balanced in a way where you can just kind of smash your way through it. But if you're going to be playing it kind of at a higher level, you do kind of need to know how to do an Izuna drop, which is X Y X X X Y or square triangle square 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 triangle. That's a really important move. You should probably know how to do a guillotine throw. You should probably know how to shuriken cancel. The Ninja Gaiden 4 takes away a couple of the moves from Ryu's typical roster or like typical repertoire. He used to be able to like tap or hold forward and press the attack button, and you would do like a little roll strike, and you would have combos that come out of that roll strike. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they've taken out all of the hold forward and press attack kind of combo routes. So now it's more traditional, and you also have combo routes with your new forms. So Blood Raven form, Gleam form, and then you also have like certain command moves like press back forward and triangle to do a certain move. Spin the
Oh, you have back forward motions now. Okay. Um, I'm gonna say one thing right now before anybody loses their mind. With when it comes to strings and his moves that he's capable of doing, like tap forward, we already know he has running moves. We've seen the guy that played Ryu in the B-roll footage spam it nonstop, and I appreciate it. Don't get it wrong. Um, as far as the whole situation with hold forward goes, it is there. Ryu legitimately has Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge string where he does square square or light. I'm just gonna call it light forward light. That move is still there. Okay, so that move still exists, and the fact that his square square triangle triangle is there also exists, and it confirms that okay. Initially, I was like, did they replace his light heavy heavy? And no, his light heavy 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 is still there, and his light forward heavy heavy is still there. His light forward heavy, sorry, his light forward light is still there. I don't know if the heavy version is there, but I hope it is because that's how you string into his heavy string from two in Razor's Edge. You do light forward heavy heavy, and he does the spin triangle spam in two. So, and as far as string goes, again, we all know this if you played Ninja Gaiden, strings unlock the more you have a weapon leveled up, right? If they have and again, I'm breaking down two possibilities here. If they've removed hold forward input on startup, that's probably because of the fact of the new lock-on system. And I cannot lie to you, I don't like doing the forward hold inputs because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to hold the direction my enemy is at to do a move that's going to target them, right? But instead, what I get is Ryu doing a forward square towards completely someone different, right? So if they've taken him out, it's probably because of accuracy of combat. The startup holds. We know the launcher is there, so like forward heavy is still there for launching. That's why I think they're still there. They might have a different way of accessing them, right? So I don't think they're removed. I just think they've either changed the method or they have whatchamacallit, they have removed it from just forward light. Which again, it's a consistent change. It's a change for consistency, I should say. It's not removal, right? Because you can't do so much more in this game. But again, until we get a full hands-on with a fully leveled up Dragon Sword Ryu, we're not gonna be able to tell what he's missing. And I will do a string video when the game drops after I get my time with it.
the left stick around and press a button, you'll do a move.
But the
And
fact that we have
all
back
these different
forward
weapons
inputs
have
is
a
insane,
move
man.
like assigned to that kind of input. So that's kind of what you need to know. In terms
That's why I
of
did this
like
stinger thirst.
actual long combos, I don't really think you're gonna have to do anything with
No,
that.
this is not a fighting
But you
game.
definitely know
This
how
is
to
not
use
Marvel.
Sigma Drop.
You can turn it into
Well
it, but
said.
this is not Marvel.
And
You
our
don't need
final
to.
question from Mr. Burns Returns says, I never played the original
Good.
3. Am I really going to notice the Sigma differences?
I don't really understand that question.
I don't either.
Honestly,
What I,
I never played original 3. Am I really gonna notice the Sigma differences? 3 didn't have a Sigma or Black version. It had Razor's Edge, which was just a better game than whatever the fuck 3 was supposed to be. If he's talking about 2 Sigma, and yeah, because NG4 plays like 3, not 2.
I don't really understand that question.
I don't either.
He has 2 strings. He
What
has
I
Ninja
would
Gaiden
say,
2 strings, but
Maybe just
Ryu plays like 3.
reframe that to.
By the way, there was one
If
Yakumo
this is your
question here, and
first
everything
Ninja
else was Ryu.
Gaiden,
I hope you guys remember that.
what are you jumping into?
If this is your first Ninja Gaiden, you're jumping into a
Yakumo.
very unique combat system that allows you to kind of freely flow around the battlefield. You can run across walls. You can
This
jump
fight,
on
I
enemy
cannot wait to
heads,
get to this
You
fight.
can, leap towards an enemy, throw them away. There's just a ton of different things that you can do to enemies, and you really need to.
Sorry to pause that, but this
There's just
attack,
a ton of
this does dot damage to you because he electrifies the ground.
different things that you
So if you're doing a no damage run, be very careful with this attack.
can do to enemies.
It's taking
and you
dot
really
damage from
need
the floor.
to find the balance of using all those techniques in the right ways to be able to survive. I always say that the dance of Ninja Gaiden is you're not trying to be cool, you're trying to survive. And in the process of trying to survive, you're looking cool as hell. Whereas the Devil May Cry, where you're just playing around with enemies like they're toys. Doing
Because they are.
the fanciest stuff that you can do just because it's fun. Whereas if you wanted to just survive in that game, you could play it pretty boring like. Ninja Gaiden is different in the way that the stuff that you do to survive will make you feel really cool.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Well, those are all the questions we flagged from the comments. Mitchell, thank you so much for your final preview. At least we're pretty sure we're not going to get another real deep look at this game again, because it's out in, what, 2 months?
But
October...
if you do want to do another look, hit me up.
Yeah.
I would love to play it again.
Yeah, if Ninja just wants to push another build out to us, we certainly wouldn't object. But October 21st is going to be the release date for Ninja Gaiden 4. It's on PC. It's on Xbox, including dropping day one on the Game Pass.
Yep.
It's on PlayStation 5 as well. If you have not watched Mitchell's Ninja Gaiden 4 final preview, check that out if you want to get my first impressions of it from playing it in June.
Okay. Well, these two are officially my favorite two guys from IGN Modern Times, hands down. Also, the lady that reviewed Monster Hunter Wilds, also my third favorite. So, thankfully, IGN has a lot of people with heads on their shoulders now. So it's really good to hear because the journalism industry has been a little bit iffy. So these two, breath of fresh air. And I would love to do a format like this where I answer questions in my comments. However, there has been some issues with me wanting to do that in the regards of I'm too straightforward, apparently, and I don't respect my audience when I speak to them, which is kind of true because I try to speak fact and not from emotions because I want to give accurate information and representation, right? So if I speak from emotions, I'm just bullshitting at that point. But that aside, I'm going to cut this video short. This was amazing. Again, go watch the video yourself, give it a like and all that. And in 5 days, if they don't announce anything else tomorrow, in 5 days, I will see you guys again with more info. Now, putting that aside again, just giving you a little heads up on when the game releases or when the demo comes out. Because on both cases, when the demo comes out, I will be doing a stream. I will be doing a video on possible strings. I will try to break down everything possible to do in the demo. And I'm always open to feedback and things that, it's possible. So if you guys find anything that I missed out, obviously let me know, as always. And fingers crossed, this demo or this next trailer is going to be Ryu focused, because as much as I do like Yakumo as a character, every time I see Ryu, I get less and less interested in Yakumo. And please do not let that sway you into thinking that I dislike Yakumo or like I want you to dislike. No, Like both those characters are cool. It's just Ryu is just so much cooler. He's the man, right? No homo. And it's just seeing him do what he does. I'm like, I'm gonna have a hard time finding myself playing Yakumo over Ryu. Which I'm an old head, but I will absolutely get Yakumo's mechanics down before I do something like that. So, with that said, look forward to this date again in 5 days' time. Well, 4 days and 23 hours now. Yeah, look at that. I'm counting seconds to this goddamn thing. Trailer, and that'll be the end of it. I'll see you guys next time.